I need a list to give you more better. It's it all. You see we are free. I need a list about your more was gone. Ayan, Jana Junubi Ayan. Mafi Gurus, Kisim Giwaja Shedi. Oh, Jian, Jana Junubi Jian. Was to be late, Omakulu Elefadur. Anataban, since 2011, Ladiasa, same level today. Anataban, 21 years, fighting freedom, and we are fighting ourselves today. No one is safe on Emily Road. No one is safe on Juba to Terekeka Road. Dead bodies recovered on the river Nice. Only God knows when the killers will be found. Oh no. Land grabbers everywhere, the youth are dying on the streets. We were finished from the bullets of the unknown gunmen and cattle raiders. Ayan, Jana Junubi Ayan. Mafi Gurus, Kisim Giwaja Shedi. Oh, Jian. Jana Junubi Jian. It was to be late, Omakulu Elefatur. Anataban, since 2011, Ladiasa, same level today. Anataban, 21 years, fighting freedom, and we are fighting ourselves today. No, if this time for everything, where is time for our peace? Oh Lord, if this time for everything, where is time for our peace? We prayed for this country. Oh, school fees, and I'm a wee one soon. Me my dad is at Tacoma, the University Tacoma. On bigger garden.
Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to Let's Say Media Show, and also welcome those of you turning in Clubhouse and YouTube and Facebook. Welcome. Before we start our show, I have two guests, Wani Markol and Ilmun Yakani, who join me in Clubhouse so that they can speak there. And before I go ahead and discuss and give Wani a chance to talk in about our topic of today, as you guys know that today is February 22nd, 2025. This is a day that South Sudan transitional government has been extended for another 2 years. So before I do that, we go to deep talk about it and let my guests speak. So let me also brief you guys. As we hear, for those of you in South Sudan, the school has been suspended for a couple of weeks, for 2 weeks, because of heat wave. I just want to announce that for those of you in South Sudan, that the school start on this from this coming days, start on Monday. So there's no school. So let me play the video for that, so that people can have, some of the people who don't have access for the information that I release, so that you guys can hear that.
The Minister of Environment actually wrote to the President on the dangers that is being posed by the heat waves in our country, and the President gave us a go-ahead. Juba and most parts of South Sudan is experiencing heat wave. It is forecasted that this heat wave will last at least for 2 weeks or more. Therefore, it is critical to take proper safety measures during this humid and not hot period. Excessive heat and humidity are becoming increasingly frequent due to climate change. High temperatures of 39 degrees Celsius and, and, and up to 42 degrees Celsius are expected for the next 2 weeks or more. High, high heat and humidity may cause heat stress during outdoor activities or extended exposure. Extreme heat can cause illness and death among the at-risk population who cannot stay cool, such as seniors, infants, and those with chronic health problems or mental health conditions. The Ministry of Environment and Forestry is advising that citizens are to take basic precautions that will help them stay safe, avoid heat related illness, and feel more comfortable. One, slow down and avoid strenuous activities. Check on those most at risk several times a day: infants, young children, and older adults. Never leave children or pets alone in a closed vehicle. Stay hydrated by drinking a lot of water. Take cool showers or baths. Stay indoors as much as possible and avoid direct sunlight. Wear lightweight, light colored clothing. Find an air conditioned shelter if possible. Have the phone number of your doctor or health facility readily available in case of an emergency. The approval was given by the President based on the following, as per the advice from the Minister of Environment and Forestry. The approval of issuing of the heat wave advisory by the Minister of Health. The Ministry of Education is to close schools for a period of 2 weeks or more, and they will be reopened when cool temperatures return. The Ministry of Education to consider opening schools in the second week of March instead of February, based on the weather changes. Government institutions should operate at least for half-day basis for the next 2 weeks or more.
One, stay indoors during peak heat. Residents are advised to avoid outdoor activities during the hottest parts of the day. Two, hydration. It is crucial to stay hydrated by drinking plenty of water. Don't wait until you are thirsty to drink. Three, cooling measures. Keeping homes cool and reducing heat exposure is recommended. This includes using fans or air conditioning where available. Four, seek cooler locations. Moving to cooler places when possible can help alleviate heat stress. What to avoid?
Students collapsing from the higher temperature. At the average of 12 students in Juba city every day. We were waiting anxiously for the advice for the ministries concerned, that is the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Health. Our role in the Ministry of Education is to implement. They have scientifically analyzed the situation, so we have to implement the decision taken by them accordingly. I therefore declare that we will close down the schools for 2 weeks, starting from Friday
Stay indoor. Some of you who like to walk around all the time because it's so hot right now for your safety. Make sure that bring a lot of water, plenty of water, and do not just go outdoor if it is hot like that. Because I remember a few years ago when I was in Juba. Juba is very hot, so I almost fell down because due to the heat wave. So some of you guys, so make sure stay uh, indoor in the shadow somewhere that is cool. I know that some of you guys in South Sudan don't have, you guys are lack of air condition, so that's a problem. Another safety reason that I will share with you guys, healthy reason is regarding about Ebola. I mean, not Ebola, about the monkeypox. Monkeypox has one case and be found in Juba last month. Okay, this is another reason that I want to share with you guys. You need to make sure that wash your hand with soap, like in 20 seconds. Wash your hand very good, neat. So the Ministry of Health confirmed this case Juba. In Juba, one case has been defined. Listen to him. So Ministry of Health.
Monkeypox outbreak in the Republic of South. A press statement from the Ministry of Health on monkeypox outbreak in the Republic of South Sudan. The Minister of Health would like to notify the general public about declaration of an outbreak of the mpox in South Sudan. This outbreak is declared following a confirmation by the National Public Health Laboratory on Thursday, February 6, 2025, using real-time polymerase chain reaction testing of a skin lesion sample collected from 31-year-old male, a Uganda national and resident of Kafuri Camp and Lurifayam, Juba, South Sudan. The patient presented with fever, rash, and body itching with symptom onset on 22nd January 2025. The patient reported a recent travel history to Uganda, where there is ongoing mpox outbreak since 2024. The confirmation strain is Gelate 1, which is same Gelate driving mpox outbreak within the East Africa region. Monkeypox is a viral zoonosis disease primarily transmitted from animals such as wild rodents to humans. Human-to-human transmission occurs through direct contact with skin lesions, infected bodily fluids, or indirect contact with a contaminated material such as beddings. Mpox symptoms typically include fever, headache, malaise, body weakness, muscle ashes, and swollen lymph nodes. This is followed a few days later by a rash. The following is the intervention of the government. The Minister of Health has activated the Public Health Emergency Operations Center to facilitate a coordinated response riding on the existing incident management symptom currently responding to cholera and other public health events in the country. The confirmed case is under isolation and is being managed at Gudela Hospital. A team of experts from national, subnational level with WHO and other partners have been mobilized to conduct a detailed field investigation and list all contacts and ensure close follow-up. Public health advice to health workers. The Minister of Health advises all health workers to remain vigilant with high index of suspicion for mpox and adhere to infection prevention and control measures. The general public. The public is advised to adhere to the following public health preventive measures. Avoid close contact with infected person. Use personal protective equipment when caring for patients. Do not share bedding, clothing, towels, or utensils with 6 people. Practice hand hygiene and respiratory etiquette. Isolate infected patients in the hospital or at home. Avoid contact with wild animals, especially those found sick or dead. Cook all food containing fresh animal meat or product properly before eating. The Minister of Health would like to reassure the public that the government is in full control of the situation and will put in place robust measures to prevent further transmission and safeguard the people of South Sudan. The public is also advised to remain calm and avoid panic, and any person showing signs and symptoms listed above should immediately report to the nearest health facilities or contact the Minister of Health through the toll-free line 6666 for immediate attention. Thank you very much for
So let us go to our topics. Those are probably announced for the two important safety. So you guys, I hope you guys are taking care of yourself. Let me go back to our topic of today. So, Michael, can you hear me? Wani, can you hear me? Okay, so let's go back to our topic. So the topic of today, we are discussing about the government of South Sudan has extended. Uh, so the extension for agreement. Let me read out the letter that they put out yesterday regarding about extension for another 2 years until let me read out and you guys can, and then I will go ahead and then people can analyze it in Clubhouse. So this is the letter that the people of South Sudan, the extension agreed upon by political leaders aim to allow the time for the key reform, including the dropping of the permanent constitution, electoral preparation and security sector reform. The new timeline pushes the transitional period to the end with the newly elected government in February 2027. February today, which is today is February 2022, 2025 to February 2022 to 2027. That is the year, mean that the time that the election will take place. If the election will take hopefully. The replies transition government at national unity Adikono assure the citizen that this move is necessary for assuring a sustainable and peaceful transition. So that is a release. That is the letter that the government put out. So they extended their government for another couple of years, which I say that they extended our suffering, the life of people, another 2 more years to suffer. So so that is the thing. So we don't know. This is the post time to extend, to postpone the election for another 2 years. So I don't know if they, after 2 years edit, they're probably going to extend it another couple of years. That's how they read it. But I cannot take the word for them, Kwana. You hear from those leaders, they say that, this time there's no excuse. The election must take place in 2026 December, which is I'm not 100% sure on that. Yeah, you know how do they lie to you guys? And then when the time comes, they come up with the execute and then they extend it. So let me welcome my guest in Clubhouse, Wani Michael. Can you hear me? So Wani, can you check your microphone? It seems like you cannot hear me or something. Can you open your mic?
Hello.
Hello, yes. So Wani.
Can you give me like 3 minutes just?
Okay, so yes, sure. So I will.
3 minutes. I will get back to you.
Okay, no problem. So those are the things. So and Inmun will come shortly. So those are the things at Junubin. So while I'm waiting for two guests in Clubhouse to weigh in on this. So these things is really so what they will do after, because there's so many things that they are not covered, like unified forces. And as you know, the crisis going in Nasser area right now is caused a lot of confusion and also insecurity in that area. And people are talking about the unified forces needed in Nasser. They don't want SSPDF is on their way to over there, and now the White Army and SSPDF now they are head in head, and we hope that there will be no any violent breakout in that region. So that's one of the things, because lack of governance in the country, because the political will in the country is lacking. As you can see, IO and SPLM, they are not agree on some stuff. So, and also we have seen another that we will talk about after this is about Tomahini. Tomahini too is another peace agreement that hanging balance whether it's cropping or there will be agreements yet. So as we hear yesterday that the Tomahini peace talk has been postponed. So, and also until March. So, and that is another issue. So this is what will be, because that's another peace agreement that hanging balance whether they will work away or they will sign peace agreement, because this is phase 2 that they didn't reach an agreement. And when they come back, maybe in March, there's another phase 3 of Tomahini peace agreement. So, and also let me update you guys regarding about the incident going on in Nasser. There's so much misinformation and propaganda going on in social media. South Sudanese are not, and this is not good. We do not like to misform or give the propaganda issues in social media, because you guys have put the life of the civilian in Nasser in jeopardy. So, as you see that SSPDF spokesperson General Lurway came out on Friday to clarify that because there are misinformation going on throughout social media that the government is sending the troop over there in Nasser to do disarmament. But according to the SSPDF, they said there's no disarmament going on. Those forces that are going to do the regular routine, they are going to relieve those forces that have been stayed there for many years, and then they put the new forces and the other forces they will leave. But the resident or White Army are not by that. They think that the SSPDF are going to Nasser to disarm them. And these are the misinformation, because this is the spokesperson of SSPDF saying that there's no disarmament going on. Okay. These are the routine for troop to rotation, to make a rotation. So, and why we do that? That's why we do propaganda. If the government say that there's no disarmament, this is the normal routine for the forces to switch to switch forces. So why are you making a big deal of it and make sure that why you like to there's a war break out in that area, and civilian will be in the mess on this. And another thing too, I want and those of the opposition still that they did opposition that they did not sign a peace agreement, that do a lot of propaganda in social media, which is not a good thing. So please do not So we've seen a lot of suffering of civilians for the last 6, 8 years. So we don't need to see another centralized war to break out again. So please stop separate misinformation and propaganda in social media or disinformation. So those things are dangerous to our people. So that is a piece of advice I want to give out to all of you. So if you see any issue that's going on, please do not take that seriously. Just take some word from the government official that what they put out in social media mob, maybe they are correct information. Do not take things from anywhere in social media. Those are propaganda from the enemy of peace. So they want to see South Sudan go back to war again, but we don't want. We support peace to be restored in the country. So that is the brief that I want to let you guys know. So so while we're going back to our main topic discussion about the extension, so what do you guys think? Yeah, you know, some of you are watching right now. So what do you guys think about this another 2 years extension uh, for Adigono government? So do you guys think that for the next 2 years, the government will unify forces? They will bring other opposition that signed peace agreement like Tomahini and Simon Garoji is coming into. They will be the part of it. And also the main important about the permanent constitution. So how do they do that? 2 years, is it enough for the government? Because they're right now they're dragging their feet. Okay. And time is run out for them. 2 years is almost, yes, it's like 2 years is like 2 months. Okay. And they still not they are still now still playing a politics on this. So because they're dragging their feet so that they're buying time when the 2 years come, and then we didn't have enough time to come up agree with all those pending issues we need to address. And another thing too, they talk about the lack of funding. So for the next 2 years, are they gonna having fund money for the election to take place in 2026, December 2026? So because as you all know that corruption in the country is one of the big factor that harming, and because the corruption is really, because even though the government has a year that the money was released about the election, and then those money where they go, who knows? They know those people where they take it. So where will they get the money for the next 2 years? So even though they're having oil money, and the oil money, where they go, they know themselves. So this is that the thing has a concerned citizen like me. I'm really concerned. I'm really concerned about this because they put your leaders playing a politics in your life. Whenever they extended 2 years, because they don't want to do election. There's no election. They because what we want you back. Okay, Wani, you back. Okay, good. So let me give you this chance, Wani Michael. So Yilmun just wrote me, said that he's on the way. He will come back soon. So Wani, what do you think about this? So give us your perspective regarding about extension that has been started today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Organizing this, and I want to apologize. I had I was caught up somewhere rather than get a place that I can be able to do it very soon. Let me say that from the outset that the extension that happened was fuller extension because the parties sat and decided to extend the agreement without seeking the consent of the people. And this is becoming a perpetual extension as opposed to coming up with a very clear roadmap in terms of how to end the perpetual extension. From the beginning, people who are against the extension, because I feel that this is becoming a perpetual extension without a very clear parameters or framework in terms of how do we end this perpetual extension that happened. Remember, this extension is not a fast extension. During the pre-transitional period, they had about, I think, 3 extensions. There was I think 3 months, there was 100 days, there was 6 months. So the years of extension began even from the pre-transitional period. That was before we even entered into the transition. The gave by them was that we didn't finish. Even the activities that they had requested for them to finish during the pre-transitional period, they didn't even with them. So the appetite for extension began way back during the pre-transitional period. That's why the civil society and in the international partners, especially TRICA, and I think they were against the extension of the pre-transitional period. So what does the 2 years mean? I don't see any kind of fundamental that will happen within the 2 years that they cannot be able to do within the 6 years. And that they are talking about are activities that I don't think they can be able to finish it within the 2 years before we even go for elections. The key activities, 3 activities that they talk about, which is very key. One is security sector reform. Up to now, there's nothing. I don't believe in unified, because if we have unified, why having the IO, they're fighting in Western Equatoria, fighting in Western Brakazal, fighting in Upper Nile, and fighting in Unity State, fighting in other parts of the country. Because ideally, if you have a unified forces that are already in the country, it means that you already have one unified army. But up to today, even within the unified forces, you still have the IO and the SSPDF and have the within the unified forces, you still among themselves. These are not have the IO and the SSPDF, so that they need to rethink among the both these are the security sector reform. So I don't think they are able to achieve something significant or fundamental in security sector reform, something that they, based on the agreement, they were supposed to do it during the transitional period, but they failed to do it because they don't have the political will to really implement some of these things. The second thing, which is very, very important, is the the permanent constitution making process. I listen to leaders yesterday, I think yesterday part 1, there was a forum organized on this for the leaders from the parties to the RRCs, and the section dedicated for the permanent constitution making. It was a presentation from Dr. Ryan, who is the chair of the National Constitutional Review Commission, and he put of challenges in terms of how far they have gone with the constitution making process. And in this presentation, he clearly pointed out that the process seems to be stalled because of finances. There's no adequate funding coming in from government. So constitution making we will move forward if there is funding and if there is no political will. But for me, concerned with the constitution making process, and I'm happy anyone is here who is part of the NCRC, is that the making process is being crafted. It is an elite process. When I was listening to speaker after speaker, everybody yesterday who spoke, hey, the parties must agree. The parties must write the constitution. And for me, the understanding of constitution It is not the parties to write the constitution. 6.13 of the agreement is very clear that the permanent constitution-making process shall be people's-led and people's own. So the people write the constitution. What the lawyers will do is what on the book and put it in the constitution. But it is not the politician, it is not the elite, it is not the constitution. It is the people of South Sudan who write the constitution. What where Edmond said will do is to collect this idea, one, in terms of governance, in terms of economy, in terms of security, social services, in terms of unity, in terms of national identity, all these constitutional issues. They collect these views from the people, put it in a document, which then will be given back to the people to find out whether these are the ideas that they have given to the NCRC and to the NCC, which is the National Constitutional Conference. So for me, the mindset of the people, and I'm afraid that the way the politicians are speaking, that this process is there, is never theirs. This is our process. So I am a little bit afraid that if this is the trajectory that we are taking in the constitutional making process, we are going to end up having the same 2011 style of the constitution. I hear people saying, and I think there's a lot of voices coming out saying, we should go by the 2011 constitution to go for elections. Fair enough. Very good argument. But I'm one of the people who say I do not want the 2011 constitution. Why? One of the reasons why I don't want the 2011 constitution is because Article 101, I don't a governor who will be removed by the president, because this is politics. There is a situation whereby the governor would have to disagree, or a video clip of Donald Trump disagreeing with the governor, I think West days back. And I think one of the governors of the state, and the governor told him that we meet in the court. So the 2011 constitution gave the president powers to remove an elected governor, and I do not want that. I don't want the president to remove somebody that I elected, I voted for him or her. So the 2011 constitution has its own lacunas that needed to be fixed. And if you have to use it as a for election, put it out one of the things. And there are so many other lacunas that needed to be addressed before we even say let's have the 2011 constitution as a benchmark for us to conduct the upcoming elections. Coming to, there are key for elections, whether for free, fair, credible elections. I know this is going to be maybe the first elections, they may not be as credible as expected. However, there are prerequisites for election. One, having a National Election Commission, which is independent in person. Does the current National Election Commission meet that threshold? No, because you have parties directly who nominated these individuals to be commissioners. Even when they're reading the presidential decree, they mention so and so expellent, so and so, so on. I hope the constitution and the commission shall be independent. That means even the individuals who are going to be commissioners of the National Election Commission ought to be neutral people. For example, you get people from the academia or eminent personalities, people who don't openly subscribe to any political party. But now, individuals who are directly having membership in an active political party, who are going to be participants in this election. So the question you're asking yourself, how independent is this commission going to be? Thinking about voter registration. We don't have a voter registry. The voter registry was I think the 2010 election or the time of referendum. The last time I was in Juba, they have filed the documents, all these things, they were in Khartoum. I don't know whether they got all of all of it and brought it to Juba. So I mean, they are starting from register voters. They have to ascertain how many number of people are per state and all these things. This is going to be a very vigorous process. It's going to take a lot of time. Then time for verification, because I have to verify my polling station, verify my names and all these things. So it's their whole activity. National Election Commission might have devolved at the $79 million. I don't know what the government is going to. They only say they are asking partners and donors to be able to support. And this is my conclusion, that, and I've been saying this for some time, that there might be no elections in 2027. And it is very clear, because if you look at that, for us to have elections, where I see it's not possible for them to do them within 2 years or 1 year, because they will waste the whole of maybe 3 months or 4 months, and then later on, when we are left with 2 months, 3 months, you see them doing so many things at the same time just to convince whether they are doing something. So there might be no elections. Where is their option? Extension, because in the last extension, RJMX said it very clear, unless they change their mind. This is the last extension that we are going to do, because they came after they came under fire from the people of South Sudan that now are being used to curtail the freedoms and the rights of the people. They have become the people power that they decide for how long the current article should be in power. So they have a dilemma of them struggling to get another extension. The RJMX option they have is the Tumaini. And to me, this confusion and conversation that the Tumaini may not succeed or is stalled or whatever, this is just politics. Trust me. They say the next talk is going to be around March. But trust me, before this year ends, you may have an agreement of Tumaini. And Tumaini will most definitely become the vehicle for the next of 3 years. And that is going to be used to secure extension, because most of the international partners get to Maine and the region. So they will have another reason to say, look, no, okay, we cannot go for an election when we still have this group that is in actively military, or this opposition who are still outside the country. We want to bring everybody on board, so we have brought them. We have to reintegrate their army, we are them on board, so that we can be able to conduct election. So I see possibilities, high possibilities of the Tumaini being used as an opportunity of vehicle for seeking another extension for another 2 or 3 years, most likely 3 years. So for me, you're talking about an election either 2030 or what, but for me, is where I see it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wani Michael. Irmun. So, Irmun, are you there? Irmun Yakani.
Yes, Abraham.
Yeah.
I'm just doing some closing. I'm doing some closing of talk. Give me 2 minutes. I'll come back and I'm going on what you want. If I can say.
Okay, sound good. So, Wani Michael.
2 minutes.
Okay, so Wani Michael, you mentioned regarding about Tomahini, and you saying that Tomahini will probably going to be, they will sign peace agreement when they come back later in March next month. And when I'm hearing from the spokesperson, I will actually interview him next week. Do you guys think that the government delegate, while they are there and they having, as you know, you are a member of civil society, PCCA. What do you guys think that the Tomahini and the artists. As I see, there's a heat debate between Tomahini delegate and with the government that the big factor that they are disagree on is to enact Tomahini with the artists. Have the artists now an Adigon, they are extended to 2 years. Do you think the Tomahini and artists can be emerged, or the Tomahini will be a standalone agreement? And what I'm hearing from the government side, they're saying that Tomahini have to be merged with the artists, but the opposition, a whole lot of opposition, led by Joropagana Mom, I say no. Tomahini is a standalone agreement. So, what do you think when they are coming back in March? Are they agree on which side are they going to be? Will government give in to agree with the opposition that Tumaini will stand alone agreement, or will the opposition will give in to the government that the Tumaini will be enact with the artists? What do you think? So, welcome, Fadal.
Thank you. I think there's been this conversation and controversies around Tumaini standalone and RRC's standalone. RRC's has been extended for 2 years, ending in 2027, right?
Right.
2027. No, 2028, February. That's when it will come to an end. Now, my reading is this, that there are high possibility of the two being merged together. Tumaine and RRCs being merged together. But then there was a question of supremacy. The Tumaine believers believe that Tumaine should be superior to the current RRCs. The Juba team of the RRCs believe that the RRCs should be superior to the Tumaine to the Tumaine document. But I think that the mediators let the parties down, and maybe also the question of how the mediation started, because government kept on referring that it was a bilateral agreement between President Kiir and President Ruto, when President Kiir asked Ruto to mediate. So it was bilateral. So every time they will be referring to the bilateral agreement between the two head of states. And the government argument is that the Tumaine should become an annex of the RRCs. So I see government conceding in certain areas. I see the opposition conceding in other areas, and I see opposition conceding in areas where the two documents are going to be merged together and become one document. I see the government conceding in allowing certain mechanisms and institutions that are proposed by the opposition or by Tumaine to be included in the new document. So you're going to have one document, but they are going to be merged together. So Tumaine will not be really an annex, but it is going to be incorporated. So like the two documents are going to be merged together to become one document. So you're going to have one agreement. That means it's going to be a revitalization of the current revitalized agreement. So it's going to be revitalization of the current RRCs, where the government have to concede on certain areas and the opposition had to concede in other areas. Apparently, the government is playing a game of being like, we don't care about this process, we don't take it seriously. But as I indicated earlier on, that the Tumaine is the only vehicle they have for extension, because I don't think they can organize election within 2 years. If they cannot do that within 6 years, I don't think there is something that they can do within within the 2 years left. So I see the two documents being merged together to become one document. I see them conceding, government conceding and the opposition conceding. Thank you.
Thank you, Miwani. Yeah, hopefully we'll see the next month. Hopefully they will reach an agreement. Emu, let me know you are back.
Mandit, I'm back. I heard from Michael Wadi. The argument is almost on the same sentence, but I want to offer options of possible solutions or way out based on the context that Michael Wadi have raised, and based on what I think some of the thinking are going around the government. First, they're thinking around the government and some international partners, and specifically the UN family, based on the position of the UN Secretary General representative in South Sudan, who is the head of UNMISS, Hassan Thing. There's a campaign going on internationally for the country to delink election and population census, because most experts were saying census are not necessarily meant for elections. So it means out of the key preconditions for creating good enough conditions for elections, census will fall back, not as an option. You'll have the option of the constitution. And the constitution by nature is said to be citizen-driven constitution. I'm a member of the National Constitutional Review Commission. Our plan is we need 18 months to finish a citizen-driven constitution. So, and I share this with the same analogy with the Michael Wani. When you look at the time extended, it's 24 months. Now, where we are as a commission, we have not delivered anything that we can count out of the 18 months is delivered. So we can say we can subtract 6 months after 18 months or 9 months after 18 months. No, we have not done anything. Right now, the civic education materials are not being officially launched. So it means if we start the 24 months today, we subtract 18 months from today to finish the constitution. If you subtract out of 24, you will be left with the additional 6 months. And the law say if you have the permanent constitution, then the permanent constitution will subject the current national election law for amendment. Now, if you take out the 6 months, 2 months for amendment of the national election law, then we'll be left with 4 months. 4 months is not a time for planning elections. Elections at least need 2 years. So what is the middle ground that I'm hearing? The middle ground I'm hearing is that using the power of the parties seeking to our access per Article 8.4 that I want to bring to attention, Michael Wapani, there's already a compromise likely with the constitutional making process as they want to escape having another extension. Likely in the middle, we will see upcoming parties' consensus on constitutional making process. They may forego certain stages by saying, look here, we have a literature, we have the national dialogue literature, and I'm hearing also on the street, some of them were saying, we have the literature of the parties' submissions to the access process. One mic, and you know how much is that? They say they want enough rich information from civil society on the constitutional consultation. By then, we have this process of dispute transitional scheme or constitution transitional scheme. So I'm hearing this information are coming up. So this is just to share with Michael, some of them are thinking about the literature that was built before. They want to collect that literature, get the national dialogue, get this process, get the civil society submissions, get the party submissions, then use them as a literature that they will draft a zero draft, and then instead of going for citizen consultations, now you go for citizen validation of the zero draft of the constitution. That's what I'm hearing. Those are options that they have as a middle ground option for the constitutional making process to meet the deadline. And if they are to expedite this time-wise, they need to make sure that by the timeline of the national election law, this constitution has to be out by October of this year. Why? Because the national election law say elections have to be declared ready by this 12 months before the day of casting the vote. That means by December this year, the commission has to declare the country is ready for elections technically, while politically they declare it until next year, September 2022. So they have to be in a real marathon on how to create a good enough condition for elections. And besides that, you have the unification of forces. So somehow, what I'll share with the audience is that if you see the declared timeline declared by the newly reconstituted National Transitional Committee led by Paul Manya, where they say they will finish the last phase of the unification of forces in 9 months. Likely that 9 months is going to define the timeline for meeting the good enough conditions for elections. What is it? Forces unification, the faith of the constitution, and likely there will be a delinking of the population census with the elections. And as we speak per now, to share with you, a high-level delegation of UN Security Council from New York is in the country, led by the Director for Peacekeeping, who is a deputy to the UN Secretary General. And those are their messages. And I can hear a lot of ambassadors. You might have seen in iRadio an article where all the ambassadors, the Troika and the Western ambassadors, say there's no time to waste, and they don't want to see postponement of the election by December 2026. So that means if we were to get outcome of Tumaini need to be met by the end of March or late April, and Tumaini has to be operationalized before October 2025. So that come October 2025, somehow 50 or 70% of the good enough conditions for the conduct of the elections are created. That means now from there, if they're going to go for December, constituencies declare, you go for constituencies declare for the elections, and it means the country is ready to conduct elections, whereby comes 22nd September 2026, the National Election Commission have to declare the leadership. So for me, that is the game that the parties have to face it. And I think the timeline of 9 months from now, counting from today, is going to be the determiner of the success of the parties. That's one thing I'll say. And Tumaini is going to be an option, as one might have said. Tumaini is between the two. If the parties fail to meet the deadline of October 2025, likely they use Tumaini to buy 1 extra year extension or 2-year extension, then they will walk away. And that's when the government fixed. That's one thing that we need to look into it. But remember also, the government is built of two camps, anti-Tumaini and pro-Tumaini. And now, anti-Tumaini is more influential than pro-Tumaini team in the incumbent government. So that is what is going to be. But also, we should not rule out the latest development. You have seen the incidences in Nasir, the incidences in Tombra, Bazia, all these counter to actions that undermine the spirit of the permanent ceasefire, and that may also undermine the unification of the forces if we are not serious. So I think for me, that's the analogy that I would like to offer, and it means the middle ground will be if the newly reconstituted NPTC leadership will constitute a quick, inclusive stakeholders workshop with an objective of revising the timeline for the delivering of the pending task of the access, which will meet with the creation of good conditions for the elections, and that may take into account also when we need to finish Tumaini in that discussion. But remember, and always I used to tell people, for now, elections is the only viable option for peaceful political transition in the country. How to conduct it, it becomes a political question that requires political decisions from the parties. So that is the dilemma for it. But also remember, with Tumaini, as we keep on going, there's a tension between Kenya and Juba. Juba have officially sent a letter accusing Kenya of allowing the opposition, who are by then not organized, to be organized to the UPA. And then you see how they say the UPA is a new declaration of war, not militia. Sorry, I want to withdraw that word, but it's a new declaration of war from Juba's perspective. And specifically, that's the language of anti-Tumaini elements that are in the incumbent government. And coupled with the Kenya position right now, with the Rapid Support Force, likely IGAD also is going to build camps within the IGAD constituency on whether Tumaini will be the best option. And remember, Michael Wani, Ismail-wise, the IGAD special envoy, was not pro-Tumaini. He is more of the group that feel that Tumaini should be an annex to Arab access and Tumaini should undermine Arab access. So that is a mix of political analogy. But I think the incumbent government, if they are smart enough, still they have options, but the options they have, it have to be defined by how much are they able to avail political will and commitment and timely and adequate resources to deliver actions that defines meeting a deadline of October 2025 to answer the question of December 2025, but that goes to along with the political decisions on whether they will use the timeline of the current electoral law, which is contradicted by the timeline of the constitutional making process, which is contradicted by the concept of conducting population census, which may likely also be contradicted with the unification of the forces. This is where I will end, and I'm ready to answer question and answers. Thank you very much. Because I don't repeat myself to consume time on the narrative that Wane have shared. I share quite a number of Wane's analogy, and that's the same thing that I'll speak about it, but still the incumbent have window of opportunity if they can change their political attitudes. Thank you.
Thank you, Edmund. Some of you are open-handed. If you want to come up to ask question, you can come up. Wadi, do you want to say something regarding about the response from Edmund? Okay, Edmund, you yesterday you have did the press conference and you talk. Can you mention about, because this is the fourth time for extension for the government. So, and you mentioned yesterday that during your conference that this is it. This is the final, no more extension. So, if, as you mentioned, if the government after 2 years ended 2026, December 2026, and they extend another. So, and what I'm hearing from the nation community and civil society like yourself, and some of the government officials say that this is it. There's no more extension for the government. If the 2026 come, because 2026 is around the corner, so and they are not achieve the agreement that they want to see, and then people will not they will not go to election. So what will be the solution after that if they do not agree on going to election on 2026 December? And there's no more extension. What will be will be done for this Adiko government?
Yesterday, we had a handover of the leadership of RGMEC from the former chair, Charles Bitwaro, the general, to a new general from Kenya, who is also a former Kenyan ambassador to Uganda. Yesterday, the handover was done in the Radisson Blu Hotel. I attended. The speeches all yesterday from the diplomatic community, from the government represented by Cabinet Minister Martin Elia and the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs who represent the President, the Troika ambassadors, the Friends of South Sudan, that means the Canadians, the Chinese, everybody is saying this is a last chance of extension. So this means it's a pressure that is merging, that the parties will never have any opportunity of extending because people are fed up that the last extension have never delivered. So the government is under pressure. That's one thing that I'd like to set the record clear, that that's the spirit that the parties are in now. And the pressure that coming from international, regional, and homegrown pressure that no more extension, this is the last extension. Likely the government will go for an interim arrangement. And the interim arrangement may not meet the spirit of the R axis if they didn't conduct election, because it means likely R axis will be declared as a failed, and that means the political spirit and the political legitimacy of the parties to R axis will be questionable and will be shaky. And likely they may, with the culture we have, they may go for violence before. And that's why even the developments that are happening now, in whether Nasir or Badari or where, it may be a trigger for the return of the country to violence because people may see time is fixing. So likelihood, there's an option, which is a worst case scenario, is the option of the country returning back to violence. The best case scenario is that the incumbent government will resign and an interim government will be established. And that interim government may be established through consensus among the parties that are legitimate, registered by the political parties council in the country, or that means already somebody somewhere have to make a coup and take over the government, whether the military or whoever, which is very possible option. It means also the country is turning back to war. So interim government is option. So based on this analogy, the chances that the government may miss election is a bit narrow. But whether they will meet elections are the required conditions for the conduct of a peaceful and credible election. I don't use the word perfect because there are no perfect elections in the world. But whether the government will have election conducted by December is likelihood, or they'll prepare a agreement by December hit them, or second the date, Mading, is not December. The date is 22nd September 2026, the date of the extension, whether the country is ready for election or the country is ready for extension, like what happened last year. So that will depend so much on the political will. And I think something that needs to happen is that you may have emerging champions for genuine implementation and marathon implementation of the pending task of our access in the government. And likely, this is my analogy, likely somebody like Bolmel may take over that docket. And you see his speech is promising a stakeholders meeting, and is already declaring money to be paid out, civil servant salaries. Without a delay, he may act as a champion that will want to make sure the country is ready for elections. and also how much Paul Manyan will pursue the unification of the forces and the political will from the president and the first vice president. So those may be options. So all we need to do is that the better time to decide is the 3 months from now. So comes March or no, comes as well now in February, comes June or July of this year, we'll have to the same discussion of the clubhouse or similar deliberations, and that's where we can make a proper assessment. Because I cannot predict what political decisions and actions they're going to undertake in a marathon manner to create enough. Because let me tell you, everything is centered on money. Money, political will, political commitment. In 1 week or 2 weeks' time, if they have all those variables on the table, they can deliver whatever is unable to be delivered during the last 5 years. So it's a question of political commitment, political will, and resources at hand. Where will they get the resources? Based on the context of Sudan, oil is not the option. The option is non-oil revenue. They can collect it from a transparent and genuine manner, but also if they can go and borrow money that they will get as a result to conduct elections. So everything is dependent on the political commitment, will, and change of political attitudes among the parties in terms of preconditions that need to be met for creating good enough conditions for elections, unification of forces, constitutional process, and population census. So for me, that's the analogy. Let's give chance. Likely, the parties may feel being SPLM or SPLM-IU as a dominant, including SOA and OPP, they may feel at fixed, they may reach consensus because all of them are sharing equal political pressure to deliver. Otherwise, they have to resign and an interim government have to be established. Thank you.
Thank you, Edmund. And my last question, and I will give the floor to the people who come up to have you question. You mentioned regarding about the ongoing incident in Nasser and also what's going on in Tumra and other places. But let me focus with these two areas, Tumra and Nasser. There are so much misinformation going on in social media regarding about the ongoing incident in Nasser. Do you think, what is your collective? I know that you went to Afanile yesterday or the day before, I think. Can you brief us, give the correct information to the South Sudanese who was listening to you right now, whether they listen to you in Clubhouse or Facebook or YouTube or Twitter? What is going on? What's the right information? Is it SSPDF is going to Nazi disarmament or is going that for routine to switch forces? What is the right information you can give to the South Sudanese?
To be honest, I was effectively engaged by both sides, SPLM-IU and SSPDF, on the development in Upper Nile. The development in Upper Nile first, and I'm going to refer the same thing to Tongra, first started as a misbehaviors of the SSPDF soldiers who have stayed for a long period in Nasser since 2013, and are demanding replacement or they need to be reallocated and new forces need to be redeployed. And this is all what triggered the previous incidences between the SSPDF and the White Army. So, and then the White Army was standing up as a community defense force in terms of whenever there's a tension between the civilians and the army, automatically the White Army come in and normally they end up in confrontation with the SSPDF. So that pressure have continued for 2 years. And I think the SSPDF, specifically the current CDF, have taken a decision of ensuring that the SSPDF are replaced in Nasser. That is what they decided. So the forces who are sent with intention of replacing the long-staying SSPDF soldiers in Nasser, and they should be replaced. That's the analogy. But of course, opportunists come in. Now the presence of Johnson Olony and James Kong brought the idea that actually you are going to use Agwelek and part of White Army, which is Kitiguang, to disarm the fellow White Army in Nasser. And this comes from where? This comes from the messages. If you go to Bilfam, the headquarters, the message headquarters for Bilfam have is a replacement of the long-staying SPDF soldiers in Nasser. And when the Agwelek leadership went to the ground and to the leadership in terms of personality of Johnson Olony and James Kong, they used the language, we are going to disarm. And of course, Johnson Olony been recently appointed as a person for mobilization and disarmament around the CDF leadership. That's what trade. So that offer a political opportunity of misinformation and disinformation between the supporters of SSPDF and the supporters of SPLM in particular, and the supporters of SPLM-IU. And you can see the confrontation, the official visits that are coming, is that from the perspective of SPLM-IU, they see it as a disarmament, and they feel this is an attempt to reduce the military strength of the IU as Nasser is concerned. And while if you look at the SSPDF, they say we're going to replace. But the complication comes is the assignment that given to Johnson Oloy. I wish if Johnson Oloy and James is not there, the concept of disarmament would have disappeared. Because honestly, if you are to do disarmament in South Sudan, you need a holistic or comprehensive disarmament. Because you can't disarm Nasser or Wulan and then you leave at the other parts of the state undisarmed. And that's where the reality, and that's why now you see Rulwai when it came, he clarified his replacement. But the fear is very high because of the misinformation and disinformation. Both sides are prepared to confront themselves. Agwelek and Oloy have prepared themselves to confront the White Army once the Agwelek were going under attack, while also the White Army have prepared themselves if the Badges is to attack. So there's a bit of tension going on. There's a slow move because you need to provide a rightful answer. So for me, I've been following the clubhouse. I attended and I see how politics have taken the interpretation of the reality on the ground in terms of what exactly happened. So that is a fear that the likelihood of disarmament under the cover of replacement of SSPDF from a perspective of IU is very high, while from perspective of SSPDF is that actually SSPDF is going to replace the SSPDF, so they will overstay there rather than disarmament. I think clarity here is needed. Of course, what we did is that we push them, we need to see clarity, and that's why you see there's a slow move compared to the speed when Johnson Oloy and James Cobb were on the ground in terms of going forward. And that's why the leadership of SSPDF is taking responsibility to provide a proper clarification. Why Nasser becomes sensitive is in line of the reputation of what I've been seeing in Tombra. In Tombra and Bazea and Nigeria was the concept of removal of checkpoints. So the checkpoints in Bo River end up being dismantled of IO bases. And that has brought in one of the SSPDF ally militia like James Nando going on and destroying IO bases and committing atrocities against civilians. And that's what Nasser was actually the same thing what happened in Tombra, Nigeria, and Bazia and Riverbow, or Kubribo is going to be same thing repeated in Nasser, and that's where politics takes place. And of course, we are in a very tense political moment. Everything is on interpretation, but the reality is that we need to get clarity from the leadership of the defense, Ministry of Defense, to clarify for us that so that we are in the same page and we can avoid misinformation or disinformation that might have led to hostile propaganda and what they call hate speech that we have seen in the clubhouse. Thank you.
Thank you, Irmon. Here is talk about the misinformation and hate speech and also incitement of the war in Nasser. Listen to this voice. This is one of the general. He's a general from NAS, and also too now he's available there and he's declared a war that he's ready to fight. And then listen to this.
Yeah, but you are loud, clear. Welcome. John Changa, I will have what is going to happen. Kalam the mind to Allah Matis Amam. Kalam the Shakla Adil Tato. One I want to be very clear, open, and transparent for the first time because this decision that I have taken now is not going to change until Salva Kiir is defeated. So, John Chang, allow me first of all to just pass clear messages.
You're free.
Please.
You're free. You're free. Just speak unless your network is not good. You're free. Nobody open the mic. Nobody ask any question. You're free. The room is for you. The floor is for you. But
thank you. Awal haja control yahu jamalakal maulun mawahid ismu bonmun zaidan wahid ismu mabordol zaidan debat putar bitaji amna putar and in war philosophy is that the تغيير تاغور ما بيجيب ناس ده كله. جون تاني تبارك جيش وهارون وفلسفة. You can help me later on. في حاجة بيجيب two deputies of chief of staff عشان normal change بتاع العامل. هو اللي في ناس قال عنده 11 ولا 7 سنة ما غير. وكلام ده ما صح. Every now and then they have been changing and forces ده 100 200 كده all these long. عشان أنا داير أوضح حقائق معينة للجنوبيين. This is number one. Number two اللي بيجيب ضباط كبار زي ده شنو؟ نمرة 3 3 باخرة، الباخرة الكبيرة واثنين صغار بواخر بتاع الأولى ده. طبعا ديل بواخر very advanced. ما في أي سبب يخليهم يمشوا ناصر. The idea is now very clear. الidea هو إنه يضرب ناس في أولان، يعمل كنترول لأولان، يعمل كنترول للناصر forever. بعد ذلك يشيلوا دجمير، يشيلوا مكير، يشيلوا مدين، ويجي يقفلوا باب بتاع ملوى الجوف خور مشار طوالي تبقى and then leftward to Gilo to Uboth طوالي لأكوبو وبوشالا and then بعد ذلك to Eastern Equatoria. يعني is a war بيجي بطريقة تانية لكن الناس ما عارفين. and أنا I know an area very well. أنا حقيقة أنا داير أوريكم. كان في زول جه فكر قال لي جيش تقوم شول ده قال جروا ناس. كلام ده احنا بيجاوبوا نشوفوه بعد 2 weeks from now or 10 days. Brother John Chang, you will get back to me at Junubin. واسمعوا كلامي ده كويس. And John Chang, I am not afraid any time from now that I have been to the height. I've been moving in the field, but I am telling you personally that I will be commanding this force. They PL. أسمع كلام ده كويس يا أخوي. أنا أخوك ده I am going to command this force personally. وده شكل الجد أنا ما بجيب إلا يا أنا متى ياكم يا فوز بتاعكم سلطة إسباك ويرجعوا لحد جبل وبنتابع لحد جبل. ده كلام هسه you are taking it as a joke, but let us talk after a few days from now. يا فوز ده يرجع. ده مسكر جاهز أصلاً. ده موضوع ما تشيلوه قال دليل قال بتاع disarmament. أكاب حاجة now I want to pass some messages لأولاد بتاع أفريقيا. جونوشان ساعتكم أنا أولاد إيكوتوريا القاعدين في مكان وفي أي حتة تانية. It is a high time إنهم يطلعوا برا من الجيش بتاع السلفة ده. ولو في أي زول عنده كونتاكت معهم help us please خلوهم يطلعوا برا. ده كلام أنا داير أوريكم ليه. نمرة 2 انتوا اولاد بتاع ابر نايل مع بان زايد النوير وتشولو please talk to your people. وجيم بتاع ابر دان القاعدين في ابر نايل please talk to your people. ده كلام انا بوريكم ليه. اي زول قاعد جنب بحر او قاعد في شارع رئيسي خليه يلملم عفشه من حسه get to the swamps. لسه في شويه سمك في swamps لسه بتاكلوا هناك في الذره حقك from today to tomorrow. لأنه اشتباك لما يقوم ما بنرحم أي زول. ده موضوع ده ما قال وايد آمي. ما وايد آمي ده أنا ين personally talking to you. ين بتاع club house اللي تفهم جي أسمع كلام تودا. I am commanding it personally. وأنا أصلاً ما دير ألعب في الموضوع ده. And I hope my messages are very clear. And همك. ليك الله جونو كان غير أي كلام بتاع democracy, secularism ويا ترى وقفوا. Please I beg you my brother كلام بس كلجني شكله كل الناس حاربوا بعدهم في الجنوب. ويس. ويتو ما تخافتكم تاني. أنا شخصيا أنا I want contribution عشان أنا دير بيت الجات ما في دولة الجساد وأنا. But I'm going to fight. وما عندي دولة الجوادي لي أنا. فالجنوب اللي عنده قلب please help us. وأنا متأكد ده ياخذ شكل أخير ده. I don't want to comment about politics and كلام فارغ بتاع سيف جاب منو وودي منو. I have been following some of them I have not been following. Lakin, Consul the Dawalatna Jonathan, he was in Iowa yesterday. Umbarek da. Wana Bakala the Dawad Ammiana Shafian. And I'm crying now because we are Jibril Jesh with ourselves. Alhamdulillah. Ulu Walatna Yahuya Jibril Jesh. Ulu Jakan Rufud Lewis Malakal Tan Mayerika Juba. Can you do Sodom? كان ما يرجع جوبا ولا كان يرجع جوبا من هناك يلقوا فرصة نحن بنفتح لهم طريق but now they have chosen another route and wallahi أنا عمري I have been fighting under command بتاع ناس تانيين لكن هسي أنا am commanding الجيش ده أنا شخصيا أنا am commanding it ما ديرات ما كلام ما يزول تاني موت الموت حاجة لنا ديروا من جنوبين بليز أقفوا معنا بس أقفوا معنا.
We shall stand with you.
Okay. Then you have it. So this is the dangerous thing, Edmund Yakani, and the rest of you in this room. So do you want to say something like, if I can hear my back to the others?
I was just, maybe I can jump in, that's okay.
Edmund want to wait in that because there are some people up, consumer and attack and while are ahead of you. So Edmund, do you want to comment on that video clips?
Madhu, can you clarify something for Yakani before he jumps on? If you can explain to us when Yan was talking, was he speaking as a son of Nuer or what exactly? Can you clarify that?
Me to clarify it or Edmund?
No, you might have to audio.
Well, to clarify for this Sabata. Let me turn off the Harris very quick. Sabata, as you know, General Ian Matthew is a NAS general, and we know this. It's not a secret. But according to your question, to clarify that question should go to Ian Matthew, whether the forces that he's going to command in the Nasser are these forces are White Army or are these forces are for NAS? So this question.
White Army. He was very clear. White Army. He was very clear.
Okay, it's very clear. But according to the NAS member, they say that he's not command White Army. So he's commanded his forces.
I know, that's why it's good to have a room that is very collected like this. That's why I was actually trying to intervene. Otherwise, I'm not in a rush. I can wait myself.
Okay.
The question is very legit questions, because in what context where General Ian Matthew was coming from. That's number one. It is quite crucial and very important. And I'd like to thank you, Mudip, for bringing that audio once again. Sabata, I think General Ian Matthew, his statements was quite clear. You see, he said, Armada no punted under any command. What does that mean? It rebels against the national. The kalam that Ian Matthew. We used to be under the commandings of the Salva Kiir, Riek Machar, Thomas Shirillo, and who else? Now I'm on my own. And let's need to repeat that question. I mean the audio one more time. Otherwise, it was said clearly with the clarity, Brother Sabati. You see, with that said, I would like just to shed light on that point in particular. And then from there, I will utilize my point to weigh in on this subject. And thank God, one more Anya is here, and I'm here. All of you, especially Sabata and Medit, and the rest of you, because you guys are well spoken. quite vocal on the issue of South Sudan when it comes to the governance. You see, I will yield the mic back to you to move the lines. Otherwise, this is what I was trying to flag, Brother Sabata. Where is Meredu was coming from by playing the audio. You see? Thank you.
Thank you, Benetilo. Yeah, let's go back. Yeah, Cosmo, you are the next online. So please make sure that 5 minutes, I will be timing because we have a lot of people. And if you have a question to Inamun, hang on, Sabat, hang on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I need to time people because we have a lot of people, and Wani Michael and Ilmunda in Africa, and also Ilmuni having a meeting is going to. So if you have a question, you can weigh in. Yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think Madidi can allow me.
Okay, yes, go ahead, Ilmun. Cosmo, hang on. Let Ilmun go ahead. He have some comments to do.
My appeal is that I have a break of 2 minutes. I'll be following. Let's give people a chance to come in. And honestly, the question of Sabata is too legitimate. And Sabata, thank you for asking that question, so that we put clarity on the table. But I will allow the people to speak. I will respond while I'm listening and I'm following.
Okay.
Let's go ahead with the line.
Okay, go ahead, Cosmo. Yep.
I'm going to use my time to give it back to you with a question, and you can spend it all you want, because you're going somewhere. But I do this because you made a really passionate. And I think your question will be taken by the podium, and he will be given the opportunity to weigh in. Otherwise, it's quite clear because you don't want it to be between you and him, and me and him. You see? No. I'm not confronting. I listened to when he was talking, and I like his presentation. You, in your analysis, you brought down the issue that is going on right now, tied to the peace that's going on in Nairobi, all the way to what's happening in Nazareth, and you went back to the Western Victoria in terms of checkpoints and all of that. You tied it all to the politics as well as the actual tensions in terms of misunderstanding, misinformation, and so on and so on. I think that was thorough, I think that was comprehensive, and I think that was good. Now, in light of the video that has been played by Mudid, having mentioned the political dimension, the political pressure of this conflict, the potential conflict that's happening, what is your view in terms of the miscommunication that's going on, in terms of disarmament and all the checkpoints, but this kind of language that's being seen from Ian Matthews? Take it off from there. Thank you, Edmund.
Okay, thank you. Irmo, now you that you want to answer his question?
I will prefer to listen to a number of questions and I'll come and answer.
Okay, so let me move. Okay, let me move to attack you on the line. So go ahead with your question.
Thank you, Benedict, and the moderators, Mr. Yakani. Great to see you, and the other moderator, Wani, and all the speakers. I wanted to speak on the constitution, Mr. Yakani. You mentioned about the constitution, and I wonder whether people are going to have a vote on the constitution once it's been finalized, whether there's going to be a referendum. Because one of the problems we have in South Sudan is that when the civilians are not included, any violation of that document is not really a concern of people. We've seen the RRCs, how some violation has occurred, and the people just they don't even go and protest against the number, nothing, because they were not really consulted. It was really between the two parties and guarantees or guarantors. So the constitution, I would love to know whether the people will actually have a referendum on the constitution. I do believe they should, personally. I would not, because that would really be imposing a constitution on the population. Especially now, the parliament is unelected, really. So for them to even write a constitution and then not allow the citizen to vote would be not good. And the other thing I wanted to also know is how do we reduce the age of presidency? We have to talk about we want more young people to be engaged in politics. But the age of to become a president in South Sudan, you have to be 35 years old. I don't think, and there's been some restrictions that have not been there. For example, and I do believe that they should not be there anyway. But you look at restriction in terms of education, you don't need to have, a bachelor's degree or what have you. And I think that's a good thing. I don't think allowing or saying that you have to have some sort of qualification is necessary, because I think the population should decide actually who to vote for. But the age of running for presidency, I think is really interesting, because why is it do you have to make it 35, and yet when you go to military, you are 18 years old. You're a child soldier. When you pay your taxes, you're 18 years old. And then you don't have a restriction in terms of you're too old to be the president. So if you're going to have an age for, you say, okay, 35 is the age that you are mentally, can handle presidency, then you have to say that, 70 or 75 is the maximum age you can be in presidency. But right now, you can be 99, you can be 100, and you are president of South Sudan. So I don't think it is actually a good thing, actually. And I think if we want to actually have, a country that actually prioritizes the people, they have to be.
Rather, based on what index, because I think we are quite vast when it comes to Africa and Southeast Asia, America. Life expectancy is quite different. Africa people don't live that 365 or 75. America is quite different. Philippines is quite different. I don't know where you base that.
No, but I mean, you look at that case, if people who are in life expectancy is definitely low, like 55, essentially, then I think that you have to, open it up more. Actually, you have to reduce the age of actually, a requirement. Instead of being 35, you make it 21, or you make it 18 even, right? That is my argument. But if you're going to have an extreme where you have to be 35, then you should have a maximum age, right? I mean, you look at the people in government today. They are beyond the life expectancy of 55. You look at President K, you look at Machar, you look at Jill Foni, they are not in their 50s. So that is my other point. And again, I think it's political opportunity for the government, or for SPLM in particular, because when they wrote the constitution, it benefits them actually, right? It benefits the incumbent. It does not benefit the actual population, who are predominantly young people who could actually outset the government. The other point is the corruption. Mr. Kani, the corruption
Atab, you have 1 minute.
It's just going on and on and on. No worries. And the loan, people mentioned that they're going to get loan, all this stuff, $12 billion. How do we get loan when we are defaulting on loans upon loans? We defaulted on the $1 billion Qatar Bank. We defaulted on the $600 million recently Exit Bank, Export-Import Bank of Africa. We defaulted on that $600 million, and they took the government to court. How do we get actually loan when, or more loan to fix the country, when the country is defaulting on loans and the country is engaging in corruption, obscene corruption? In the money that they get, they're not been investing in the development of the country. So I think those are my questions. How do we get out of this current situation the government is actually in? So thanks so much, Mr. Guy.
Thank you, Tak. The next online is Moranyat. Welcome.
Thank you. I greet all of you. I will just raise questions, and then also, just in case you may have a number of my questions, I will also post them.
Can you raise your voice a little bit?
Okay, thank you. I hope I'm clear now. Yeah, my question is this, Brother, you're talking about election and then the indicators of election. So far, it's in the news that the National Bureau of Statistics responsible for the census is asking for like 100,000
$100 million to conduct the census. And I think there is also National Transitional Committee, I think under Polnagyak, also asking for $95 million to carry out these duties. And I think last time the National Election Commission asked for, I think, $270 million. So when you look at this here, that to me sounds like a very big amount of money. And these are money that are needed in order for us as a nation to do election. Given the economic situation now, they don't look like our government is going to really meet that financial demand. And people are telling us that they need this amount of money, but the details like that, what exactly would demand that amount of money, we don't know. It is not another plan to really pre-extend the already extended election. Because to me, it looks like all of these huge requests of huge financial requests, to me, it does sound like some people want to intimidate us by saying, you know what, it's going to be too expensive to do the election. And I'm not even going to talk about the insecurity and the constitution, absence of constitution. I'm not going to talk about it. So you now, as a member of civil society, we depend on rely on organization to enlighten the people of South Sudan. What is it that we, the people of South Sudan, should see as an indicator of whether election will take place or the leaders are playing a game? What indicators? What is it that would indicate to us? What is it that will make us say, oh, it is already July 2025. By this time, this and this should have been done to show us that, to indicate that the government is really working towards preparing the nation for election. What are indicators, and how can you let the people know about it? Because if we are not even aware as to when the government can fail to do election, there is no way we can even turn up and put the pressure on the government. And my last question is, if these leaders, the Artigano, have since the time they signed the peace and formed the Artigano, and all these years they have failed to do one thing and one thing only, and that is organizing election for the people of South Sudan. Is there going to be really a need for us as a nation to continue to have this organization that have failed to do one thing and one thing only, and that is election? In the name of what should the Artigano continue to exist and lead our nation if they cannot even prepare us for election? You, as civil society, I think you can indicate.
You have 1 minute. What?
Okay, very good. Thank you for reminding me. So you as a civil society, we will rely on you to let us be aware of this organization. Is it really hard for them to organize election for us, or are some people playing games here? And when do we discover that we, the people of South Sudan, are being played with? And whom do we count on to educate us about this, aside from civil society under Edmund Yakan? Those are my little contribution and some questions there. I will move myself down to create a space, and I will be okay with whichever way you answer me, Brother Edmund Yakan. Thank you. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you don't have to go down, you stay up there. So I will open later on for the rest of you guys to speak after, because we are live on Facebook and YouTube. So when we reach the time, so conversation in Club will continue. I stay up there. So Edmund, do you want to go ahead and answer those questions, or do you want to take one more? Okay, so the next on the line is Tilo.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Brother Malik. I'm going to be very brief, I think.
Or a call. So a call is ahead of you.
Is it a call? It is fine in which way, Brother Medina. I don't take it. So go ahead, Brother Medina. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, for that flexibility. Once again, thank you, Ika Media, and thank you, yourself and the participant, especially Brother Igmoni Pane, who never actually tried to resist when people call to ask questions. And thank you so much for being very comprehensive. And I think I'm going to be very brief because most of my questions actually been asked by Brother Wal. But regarding the topic here, Brother Edmund, and I think you spoke very, very clearly a while ago. Even you went as far as, the development of something new apart from this. But I don't know, according to the peace agreement of 2018, it is stipulated in Article 8.4, I believe. Maybe you all can help me in that regard because in this clubhouse, in very clubhouse, we conducted a session whereby we discussed the extension of the government of national unity for the 2 years. It was disputed by a lot of folks within the IO and the other oppositions, but they failed to represent themselves based on the facts. But accordingly, right now the government has the ground to extend the government of national unity, not even next 2 years, next 4 years and 6 years and 7 years. If there is something that will stop them not to extend the government of national unity, I'm really happy and looking forward to hear it from you. What will stop the government of today to stop the government of the stakeholders? The IG, the IO, and the SOHA, and all the rest of the stakeholders not to extend. What will stop them? And based on what fact? That's number one. Number two, to take it with you, because there is this pressing issue that is going on for a little while for the last few days in South Sudanese discussions. The conflict in Upper Nile and the extension, the replacement or the swapping of the forces in Nasser. If you guys can recall, Brother Edmund Yekani, about 2 years ago, and there was a graduation of the unified forces and there was a resolution whereby those of David Biel came in this clubhouse and he spoke in a room with that Jono Chang, whereby there is going to be a swapping of the forces. 5,000 will be taken from Equatoria, 5,000 will be taken from Barkazal, 5,000 will be taken from Upper Nile, and then it can be swapped. What is new and what is surprised now, people are just very suspicious about that process, and it is something that was agreed upon. You see, it is something need to be clarified, Brother Edmund Yekani, because now we are confusing ourselves. Those of David Biel, this is we are going to unify the forces, and we are going to take people from Bantu to Wow, people from Will to KJKJ, from Ye, and vice versa. Now, why is it outcry when people are going to relocate? The forces are going to be relocated or swapped from the Bantu or Nasser to somewhere else. And this is actually a mandate of the Commander-in-Chief. Why is so concerned of the MPs, civilians? Can you just elaborate on that? See, with that said, I will leave it. I will leave there because I have some other questions that I would like to follow up with, but I don't want to consume time because there are a lot of folks here want to interject and shed some light. Apart from that, I would like to give you a heads up, Brother Mujit, and your room and your platform and the participant, especially Brother Edmund Yekani, those of Wal and Sabata, and the rest of the folks that are not here, those of them that require. The only way that we can address our issue is to come together, not to be biased, but to address the issue head on. The issue that we are now talking about, I think it was addressed by Tilio and One Moranyar and those of Merit. It's not even some time ago. It was a while ago. With that said, I will stop here and thank you so much.
Thank you, Benetilio. Okay, Ilmun, now you can take over. So you will answer those questions, and then we move to the next.
Thank you. Thank you. I may not go one by one. I'll go generic, but I will respond to the questions. And if I miss something, then first, let me start from the angle of the Constitution. In the angle of the Constitution or the agreement are access, the Article 8.4 that mandate the party signatories are access to have the legitimate, political legitimacy for extension of the transitional period. It has no sunset clause. Let me use the phrase sunset. What does it mean? That particular article have not defined a limitation. What I understand.
Thank you.
This is the only limit to keep on extending. They can extend it 100 years as long the party signatories are access and consensus among themselves. Now, how do you block that? Stakeholders will have to block that if the parties to have access and which consensus that they want further. We may make noise in which space. We may only make noise when it is the assembly meeting of the RGMX, where stakeholders and national community. But where that extension gain legitimacy, if the party reach consensus, that will extend the next 10 years. If that is passed by the Council of Ministers, if that is passed by the Parliament, then legally that is the legitimacy. And normally when it comes to the Parliament, the Council of Ministers goes to RGMX. RGMX meeting we can make noise. We can argue over the RGMX, we can express disappointment. But from RGMX final coming to the Parliament, as long as Parliament endorses, continues. So there's no sunset clause for that article. That's something I want to make it very clear. That article doesn't have sunset clause. The only sunset clause that has where the party signals are extended, we are higher on the extension, and now we stop the extension. But they have the upper line of extension. Now, what motivates extension? What motivates extension is
Sorry, I need to disrupt it. But what about our constitution? Because our constitution does say that after every 4 years, we're supposed to vote for election. Unless we are told that the legislative mind is still anymore, bigger color, we are governing ourselves based on the agreement. But in our constitution is still valid, but the constitution can override that Article 8.4.
now this is avenues. I'm coming to avenues. Options. Options that say that article doesn't have options in hand that we may need to invest over. My brother, one of the particularly linkage between the Constitution and our Act, chapter 8 of our Act, to perceive anything that the Constitution makes, which can get that. So you may have a Constitution, you may think the our Act has given the mandate, the extension of Act 8 and our Act. Anything that the Constitution
Okay, those of you in Facebook will end this show, so you guys can join us in Clubhouse. So thank you for coming in. If you have for those of you who have a Clubhouse account, please go log in to Clubhouse and then go to follow South Sudan Eagle Media. You will get the room there live, so you can join us there. So thank you. I will close down the studio. So join us in Clubhouse.